What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Scevoli Tano show, guys. I know, I'm back. It's all right. It's a thing that we just come back to. It's like going to the grocery store. Like your dad says, "I'll be back," and then he never comes back. But I'm here. I came back from the grocery store. I am here with you. I am all your dads. I don't know how I pay child support, but I'm all your dads. But anyway, enough with my personal issues. Welcome back to the Scevoli Tonight Show, guys. We're back for another special guest, Jacob from State Farm. Yeah, Jacob from State Farm. Yeah, oh, no.
There we go.
Come on, Chris. Get with it. Scevoli Tano, get with it. Sorry, guys. Jacob from Tales from
Tosche Station. Tales from Tosche Station.
And we're going to get into that. But before we start, make sure you guys subscribe down below to the YouTube channel, The Scevoli Tano Show, for more of me. That's it. Because all you're going to get is me and some action figures and some statues. But you're going to get mostly me. Jacob, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me on.
Anything for a Tosche Station. Anything for you, man. Anything for you.
Thanks.
So
Thanks,
my
man.
first question to you, Jacob, is where did you get the name from? Where did that how did you combine those two? What was your thought process? Because, like I said before the show, there's no names like that out there. Like there's always like Star Wars this, Star Wars that, or something clever. Like that's just with Star Wars. But yours is really clever, actually.
Yeah, so for most Eagle-Eyed fans, well, let me start with this. When I first started wanting to do this podcast, I kept thinking of a name, something within Star Wars that could grab people's attention. That's not like you said, like Star Wars Theory or something like that. I didn't like and I just thought, okay, let me go with something revolving around Tosche Station, which, for those that don't know, Tosche Station is in Anchorhead on Tatooine, and it's where Luke was going to go before Owen told him to clean R2 and 3PO in the original trilogy, and that's a Easter egg for most fans. So I just figured, let me go with Tales from Tosche Station, because most fans don't realize what that is, and I just thought it was I thought it was a cool name, so I just went with it. So. And
what kind of tales are you telling on this station?
So right now it's I'm doing Bad Batch breakdowns. I do it every single week. I drop most of my episodes on Sundays at 1:30 Central. But my brainchild and the thing that got me started was my what if story that I thought about for years now. And it's on my Spotify channel. You guys can check it out. It's what if Anakin went with Obi-Wan to Utapau, and how that would all change things. So that was the first thing on my channel, and that's kind of what started me. And what if stories in the case of Star Wars, that's something that I've always enjoyed doing, something I've always enjoyed crafting. I'm really big into theory crafting, and like what would happen if this character did that, or what happened if this character did that. What if like Luke was raised by Vader as an infant, or like stuff like that. So when my first story on my channel was this four-part series of what if Obi-Wan took Anakin to Utapau, and I'm not going to give a lot of things away here, but it takes what we know about the sequels, about the original trilogy, and kind of puts it on its head. The same events happen, but in a different way. That's all I'm going to say about it. If you guys want to hear how it happens, check it out on my channel. I think it's pretty good, but I'm a little biased, so I'll let you guys form your own opinions.
Now, you say you love What Ifs. Now, I do a What If series on my show that you guys can check out also on my channel. It's the Star Wars multiverse, and there's 8 episodes. There's 4 out now or 5 out now, but the people have been waiting for 5, 6, 7, and I think I have to still finish 8. I haven't finished 8 yet, but they're waiting for it. And I have also more What Ifs coming out, like. I have a couple what ifs, like what if Ahsoka was at the temple when Order 66 was executed. I have one here that I finished writing. What if Obi-Wan fought Maul on Mandalore instead of Ahsoka? You know, through the eyes of Obi-Wan. Like you said, some things would be different, some things will not be different. So you guys can check that out on my channel too. Go check out his, because I really want to see how he does it, because everybody does it differently. You know, you got to always do it, the story differently than the next person. If this one has it and this one. So I haven't done Obi-Wan. I haven't done that one on Utapau yet, but probably I will eventually. But so we're talking about what ifs. Now, if Star Wars does come out with a what if series, what would you want in that series? What would be your biggest what if?
That. It's a big question. Well, I don't think Disney. I personally don't think Disney's going to do it. Just because I just don't think they're going to want to put that much money into a what if series and try to bring back like all the people from the Clone Wars, and then you got to cast. If they're going to do Luke, Leia, Han, and all the original trilogy characters, you've got to cast people for those roles. So I don't think they're going to do it. But one that I've always thought would be interesting, and we kind of we have it in a way, is what. And I said it just a few minutes ago. What would happen if Vader raised Luke from infancy? And the reason I say we kind of already have it is Starkiller. That's essentially the premise of what Starkiller is. What would happen if that's how I've always interpreted Starkiller, at least. He's the dark side version of Luke. He's what would have happened if Vader raised Luke from infancy. And I think it would be interesting if we see a what if where Vader raises both Luke and Leia together, and to see what would happen with both of them. So
yeah, that would
that's
be
one that's one that I personally would like to see if they ever did it.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. What would Vader train Luke and Leia to become? You know, would they go to their father's footsteps, or they would be like, I don't know if you watched Visions. It was somewhere like that with Visions. I think it was the twins.
I've seen a few episodes, but I haven't watched all of them.
Yeah, like I feel like that. If you watch that one, I think it's called Twins. It's like it's a boy and a girl, brother and sister, and the sister's evil, and the brother is like the good one. So it's like kind of like, if you really want to throw it out there, like Leia's the girl, like she's turned evil, and then Luke is the boy. But they did it somewhere like that, but it's not really Luke and Leia. It's just the twins. It's just other characters. But if you want to check that episode, I'm not a big fan of Visions. This first season I was. The second season I wasn't really of. Because I don't know what happened in season 2. Season 1 was great, but season 2 I was like a little iffy on. So back to what I was going to say. So Starkiller. Now, for many people like me, I don't know who really Starkiller is. You know, I know he's a powerful being, powerful Jedi or Sith, but I never really played the game. So for all those people out there, can you wisdomize us of who Starkiller is?
I will. I'll do my best. So Starkiller is and I need to look up the lore, because but anyways, because it's been a minute. But Starkiller is the son of a Jedi Master, I can't remember, and who it was. And essentially, Vader finds him on Kashyyyk when he's probably probably 2 or 3. I'm not really sure. And he trains him, like I said, from infancy to until he's about 17 or 18, and he's Vader's secret apprentice. He makes him to essentially overthrow the Emperor at some point in time. And throughout the story of the first game, he goes from being a Sith to being a Jedi. And at the end of the game, depending on which way you go, he either dies trying to defeat Vader and Sidious, or you kill Vader and you become Sidious's new apprentice.
Also gives you an option. It gives you an option.
Yeah. Okay. And with that, with him dying, with Starkiller dying, that actually kind of starts the rebellion, at least in Legends at the time. That's how the rebellion started, because the rebel sigil is actually, and I might be misspeaking here, but I think this is right. The rebel insignia is actually his house crest. So they use that symbol as the Rebel Alliance symbol, which I always found fascinating. But the thing that a lot of people gravitate towards is just his story, where he was raised as a Sith assassin, as someone on par, and as far as power goes, he's on par with Luke at the end of Return, maybe even stronger. And the way that he goes from Sith to Jedi is just, that story is amazing. I can't talk about it enough, but if you haven't played the game yet, buy it on play. It's worth it. Force Unleashed 2 is not a lot of people like that game, and I don't either. The development was rushed, and it's just not as good as the first one, if I'm being honest. But that's Starkiller. He's one of my favorite Legends characters, if not my favorite. Sometimes it switches between somebody else, but yeah, that's essentially Starkiller. I've said it a couple times already. He's one of my favorite characters. I love his story.
And he's Sam Wittenworth, He's Sam Wittenworth. He's Maul.
Yeah, Maul the son. So
everything. He's an amazing voice actor, Sam Wittenworth. Mm-hmm. He really is. And I will definitely play the game. I think you can buy it on PlayStation or Xbox, right?
I think it's I bought it a while ago. It's I want to say it's less than $10, I think.
Oh,
but
I'll probably.
It's, if you want to use the Force as a wrecking ball, it's the first level. You get to play as Vader.
Oh wow!
That's all I'm going to say. It's good. It is good. That's all I'm saying.
So for all the people like me out there have not played the game, we got to go play it. Because not a lot of people play the game. I haven't played the game. I know who Starkiller is, but only from videos and stuff like that. So I just want to see the background and get to feel, and other people out there in the world maybe doesn't know who Starkiller is. Mm-hmm. So like you said, Starkiller is your favorite Legends character. So now I'm going to ask you, in Star Wars, who are your top 3 favorite characters? And
top three favorite. All right, I'm going to go from 3 to 1.
Okay.
I'm gonna say number 3 is is Kanan Jarrus, aka Caleb Dune.
Oh, yes.
He's, in my opinion, he is what a Jedi
should be.
Mm-hmm. Like, his story arc is, I mean, I love him as a character, from going from a reluctant master to some kid that he doesn't even want around in the first season, to essentially a warrior and one hell of a Jedi master, if I might put that title on him at the very end. I actually, when my wife and I were first watching Rebels, this is my first time watching Rebels. It was during the pandemic, and I knew who, just like you with Starkiller, I knew who Kanan was. I knew who he was. I knew his story, but I didn't know he died. I didn't know he died. I didn't know he died. So we were watching the and now I can't hear a AT-AT the sound without like dying a little bit, because we were watching Jedi Knight, and we see the scene of him dying, and I cried. I didn't know he was gonna die, so it took the wind out of me, and I just, like I said, he is what a Jedi should be.
I love Kanan. I think he's one of the best Jedis in Star Wars. You know, like a lot of people, like it's almost the 10-year anniversary for Star Wars Rebels. I think it's in September or October, the 10-year anniversary. But not a lot of people liked Rebels, you know, because of the animation. I love Rebels. I can watch. I'm an animation guy. You know, I'm biased, so I'm all team animation all the way. Like I love the Clone Wars. I love Rebels. I love the Bad Batch. You know, just give me more animation. You know, I'll be happy for life. But Kanan is what a Jedi really should be. Like I love Kanan. I have to read the book. I read his comics, but I have to read the New Dawn with Kanan and Hera and see how they met each other, stuff like that. I know that gives the backstory of that. But yeah, Kanan and Rebels, Star Wars Rebels is peak fiction. You know, I love it. Who are your top two now?
My top two. All right. I'm gonna get some brownie points for you. It's Ahsoka.
Right.
Ahsoka's my number two, just because, again, I love her story, from going from the annoying little sister in the first season of Clone Wars. And again, I didn't watch, full disclosure, I didn't watch Clone Wars or Rebels until the pandemic. So again, I knew Ahsoka's story. I knew who she was. I knew who her master was. I knew what happened. I know what happens in Rebels, all that stuff. But I didn't know her story. So my wife and I watched it during the pandemic, and she's my wife's favorite character. And I just love her story from when she starts to essentially when she gets kicked off the council, because we see not only her mature, but she also realizes that essentially she can't trust the council, so she leaves. And the effect, and this is gonna bleed into my number one, the effect that it had, that event, her leaving the council, her leaving the order, the effect that has on Anakin, it doesn't get spoken enough. And also, something else happens in her character arc. She freaking dies
Yes, she does.
The daughter gives her essence, and we are just now starting to explore exactly what that means.
Yep.
And that's the thing that I'm excited the most for in Ahsoka season 2, is to see the mystical side of the Force. We got a little bit of it. We got a taste of it in season 1 with the World Between Worlds and what was going on with Balin and who was calling him and stuff like that. But now that Thrawn is literally only in the main galaxy, we can focus on Ahsoka and figure out the mystical side of the Force, because that is, funny enough, that's a side of the Force we've seen bits and pieces of, and I want everything. I want it all.
You want it all.
And
I think it will be a great story to see what happens in that, because we see, like, there's the father, the son, and there's no daughter. You know, the daughter's head is missing when Balin was on the statue. And it's like, where's the daughter? You know, who is the father? Is Balin the father? Is Anakin the son? You know, is Ahsoka the daughter? Which, like you just said a couple minutes ago, that the daughter is in Ahsoka. And I think I've always said this on my show, that the daughter is like is Ahsoka. You know, this Ahsoka.
Well, I got you. So this is my theory. The Mortis gods, their bodies can die.
Yes.
Their bodies can die, but their spirits are reincarnated. We've seen the daughter. We've seen the father. I'll get to that in a minute. And we don't know who the son is. Again, that's another theory I have, and feel free to ask me what I think on that, and I will tell you here in a few minutes. But
yeah, tell me. I want to know.
But later. My number one, and I'm cheating here. My number one is 2 characters.
Oh, I might know who they are.
Anakin, Vader.
Vader, yeah.
I like and I see Anakin and Vader as 2 sides of the same coin. And I've always said this. I've always enjoyed seeing his fall, and seeing how someone that's so caring, that would do anything for his friends, how he could go from someone who's selfless and would do anything for his friends to just a tortured soul that, through just a primal love for his son, turns back to the light. And I've always wanted to see Anakin at his most powerful, and we got to see that in Ahsoka. Yes. Watching him easily go from light to dark and dark to light, it was a thing of beauty. I loved it. And my theory is that Anakin is the father.
Oh.
Because what does the father do? Keeps the balance. And what's Anakin supposed to do? As the chosen one, he's supposed to bring balance to the Force, which he did, and he continues to do when we see him as the father in I think episode 5 of Ahsoka.
Yes.
And and we see him just flipping, it's like flipping a switch, like light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. And that's why I think he's the father, because he can effortlessly just go between both without losing himself to either one. So, Anakin and Darth Vader are my favorite characters, just because, you can't have one without the other. And to say that, oh, Darth Vader is my favorite character, without mentioning Anakin, that you wouldn't have Vader if it wasn't for Palpatine playing him like a fiddle and breaking him. And it's Padme's reflection in Luke that brings him back. So, yeah, Anakin and Vader are my favorite character. Are my favorite character. Just don't know how to say that. But anyways, you know what I'm saying.
So. Because a lot of people out there, like as myself, I see Anakin and Darth Vader as two different people. You know, they're the same person, of course, the same person, I know. But I just do it as two different people because Anakin, you see him as a heroic Jedi Knight, you know, caring for his friends, you know, doing the best he can for others, you know, and then you get Vader. Vader's a vile, evil Sith Lord, you know, but his actions, because he hated the Emperor, you know, he hated what he became, you know, and he was supposed to bring balance to the Force, which he does by the end of Return of the Jedi, you know, and then we see in Ahsoka, he flickers back and forth. That Darth Vader we would have got if Obi-Wan didn't have the high ground, that's the Vader we would have got.
And that's the scary part.
And that's definitely the scary part, because I said to the Mandalorian that was on my show that no one was going to stop him. You know, if that was the Vader we got in the prequels, you know, Obi-Wan never cut his legs off, and he just got powerful and powerful. I think, you know, that Vader that we would have got in that with legs, like with full body, like Anakin Skywalker, I feel like, you know, it would have been easy to change him. You know, I think it would have been like easier to like bring him back to the light side instead of him having the helmet and everything, because Obi-Wan cut it half of it and Ahsoka cut half of it. And, you know, they still didn't turn back, but I think it was fully Anakin, like a full on Anakin Skywalker, like no metal, just named Darth Vader. I really think it would have been easier for people to maybe change him back, like Obi-Wan or Ahsoka, you know? And like you said earlier, I know what you said, but I totally forgot the words. Now, do you think Ahsoka could have changed Vader back to the light side? Nope. So you don't think anybody could have changed him back instead of Luke?
It had to be one or two people. It had to be Luke
or Leia.
Or Leia. Yeah. Nobody else could do it. Because it's the only people that could. I mean, I would have loved to have seen Leia turn him instead of Luke, because, I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking Vader is fighting Padme. That's probably what he would be thinking if Leia is right in front of him. What does that do to him? Because we saw the conflict that he had in him when he was fighting Luke. What if he was fighting a spitting image of his wife?
Yeah.
What happens there? But anyways, I digress.
And now, what if Padme survived? What would you think that story would be like?
I
think it would be awesome to see that one. I
don't think he turns as easy, because the thing is, Palpatine first eliminated Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
And then he had to figure a way to get Obi-Wan and Padme out of the picture. And he does that. He manipulates Anakin to turn on his wife and then his best friend. So if Padme lives, I think she turns. I think he still becomes Vader, but I think she could get to him.
So. Oh, okay. Like try to change him back to the light.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I think you would do. I have a what if Padme survived, what if coming out on my channel very soon. You know? So stay tuned for that, guys, when that comes out. My next question is to you. So now we see in the Bad Batch, Senator Chuchi is fighting for rights for the clones. You know, we see that in the Bad Batch. We see that in season 2, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then we're seeing a little of it in season 3. You know, I hope we get more of it. Probably, maybe these 2 episodes that drop, maybe we'll see more. Now, if Padme was alive, you know, I say this, but I don't know if you'll agree or some people will agree out there, that if Padme was alive, I think she would fight for the rights of the clones. I think she would, instead of Senator Chuchi, it would be Padme Amidala fighting for them. You know, could you agree with that, or you don't see that at all? You think Padme would stay in the office and do?
I think she would, but at the same time, she would also be working behind the scenes to try to get a rebellion off the ground, because there's a few different deleted scenes in Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
Where we essentially see Padme like laying the foundation for the Rebel Alliance. That's what we see. That like they're literally on, like, Anakin and Padme are literally like on 2 completely different sides of the table. And I've always thought that that's interesting. That if Padme lives, that she would ultimately be on the side of the rebellion, because that's what she believes in. She believes in liberty. She believes in freedom. She believes in justice. So I don't think she would turn her back, especially on the clones, with her experience with them. I don't think she would let that go to the wayside.
I think that would be very interesting to see if Padme really survived. That if the What If series does happen, I would love to see what they would do with that one. You know, I would
be
love
nice.
So my next question to you, Jacob, your top 3 favorite Star Wars movies.
Okay. I know this is going to be a little bit of a cop out, but I'm going to say the original trilogy with Revenge of the Sith coming in at a very close number 4, but still the original trilogy. It just does it for me. I don't know if you can see it, but that VHS box right there.
Behind you? Is it behind you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That VHS box with Vader on it.
Yeah.
That's the original VHS 1996 re-releases that I watched as a kid.
Oh wow.
My dad kept them, and I just said, "Hey, can I have it?" He said, "Yeah, take them." So, that's Star Wars to me. That always will be Star Wars, and as an adult, I've really understood the storytelling and what George Lucas was trying to get across. That just because you are evil, just because you are far gone, that does not mean you cannot come back. That does not mean that you can't turn away and start again. I just really, if I had to rank them, if I had to rank the original trilogy, I would say New Hope, Return, Empire.
Also, New Hope would go first.
No, and I'm doing from 3 to 1. Yeah, from 3 to 1, it would be New Hope, Return, and Empire. So.
Oh, wow. And now, what is your story behind those 3 movies? Like, what did your father showed you when they growed up, or how did you get into loving those movies? Because I know a lot of people, Revenge of the Sith. I love
Oh no, Revenge of the Sith is my number 4. It's very well to ask me on a different day. It might be a little different, but really, I don't have a first memory of watching Star Wars. If that makes sense. I probably started watching these when I was like 3 or 4. Like, I don't remember first watching these VHSs. I don't. I just remember I was always watching them. I wore those tapes out. I don't know if they even play anymore, but I just remember there was one time when I think this is my first memory of Star Wars. I'm pretty sure, where it's the binary sunset scene where Luke is looking out over the horizon as the binary sunset is playing, and I just remember as a 4 or 5 year old kid just being enthralled by what I was seeing, the music, the wonder, and I honestly think I saw myself in Luke, what's ahead, and I just remember just being enthralled by these movies. And as I've gotten older, I've learned more about these movies and George Lucas's inspirations and how he made them and just everything. So these, I mean, I'm pretty safe. It's pretty damn safe to say that these movies, those 3 movies, crafted my entire personality. I mean, I mean,
carried them with you.
yeah, I mean, yeah. Like I certainly wouldn't be talking with you right now if I was never introduced the original trilogy at such a young age. So that's why they're in my top 3. That's why I love them. So
yeah, that's amazing. I never really people come on the show and they say it's like Revenge of the Sith or the Empire, but you have a background of that story. That was great.
yeah.
So my next question to you is your favorite scene in all of Star Wars. What is your favorite scene? I know you talked about the binary suns, that could be your favorite scene. But what is your favorite scene that took your breath away? It could be live action, animation, movies, and Star Wars. What really said I cried every time I see it?
All right, give me a minute. Okay, so I think I know. And it's from Revenge of the Sith. It's from Revenge of the Sith. It's the entire scene of Battle of the Heroes from literally the opening monologue to the very end of the fight. And the reason being is this goes back to me and my father. When I was, I think he told me this when we first, before we saw Phantom Menace. He kept telling me that that George Lucas back in the 80s released concept art of Mustafar I think it was back in the 80s, and he essentially said that George Lucas said, and you might have to fact check me on this, essentially said what Mustafar was, and that's how Anakin becomes Vader, is this lava planet. So my dad knew about that, and he told me about it, and I was enthralled. So when that scene happened, even when I saw Revenge when I was, I think I was 10. No, I was 11 or 12. When I saw for the first time, and I think I saw the movie 3 or 4 times in theaters because I wanted to see that fight just over and over and over again, just because we get to see two brothers, guys that have just been in war together for the last 3 years, trying to tear each other's heads off, they're trying to kill each other. And not just that, it was, I mean, the monologue that they have at the beginning, I mean, I could recite every single line. I really can. I've memorized that entire scene, everything. And that's probably my favorite scene, just from the the storytelling, the choreography, the stakes of this fight. Also, I just that's my favorite. My favorite scene.
Scene.
Period.
So like we were talking, you just said like the Battle of Heroes, like the Duel of Fates. So in Star Wars, there was many lightsaber fights. You know, you get Ahsoka and Maul, Obi-Wan and Anakin, Obi-Wan and Vader a couple times. What is your favorite Star Wars lightsaber battle? It could be anything.
Favorite lightsaber battle.
Yeah, so it could be Darth Vader versus Luke, Luke versus Vader. It could be any of those.
Luke Vader on the second Death Star. Because again, the stakes of that fight. I mean, you've got the entire Rebel Alliance on the outside of the Death Star, trying to get in there and blow the damn thing up, while Luke is literally sitting with Space Satan and his father, and Luke's desperately trying to get his father to come back. I mean, we see it from when he's on the bridge on Endor. He keeps saying to his father, come with me. You can leave leave all this. I know you. I love you. Come back with me. And I mean, Vader says it to him. Obi-Wan once thought as you did. And you can see specifically in that movie, this isn't the same Vader that we've seen in the last two movies. This isn't the force of nature that we've seen in the last two movies. This isn't the boogeyman. This isn't the juggernaut of the Empire. This is a conflicted character. This is a conflicted person. He doesn't know what does he serve his master, or does he follow his heart and go with his son? He's not sure. And during that fight, you not only see the conflict in Vader in that fight, but you also see Luke finally realizing what Yoda was trying to teach him on Dagobah. Your weapons, you do not need them. Luke realizes that the way to win his father over, to get him back, don't fight him. He doesn't need to fight him to win. There are alternatives to fighting. And
kill with kindness.
And the thing that gets me is after Luke has that brief turn with the dark side, what's he do? You've seen Return.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next thing he does? He looks down at Vader's severed hand, looks at his hand. What's the next thing he does? What does he throw away?
His lightsaber.
He throws his saber away.
Mm-hmm.
Never. You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me. And that's why I love it. Because Luke he puts all the pieces together, and he sees in that moment of rage that he's slowly becoming his father. He's slowly becoming Darth Vader. And he says, I'm not doing that. I'm not killing my father. I'm not doing it. And because of that, moments later, when Palpatine tries to kill Luke, Vader turns, chunks him down an energy shaft, and balances the Force just like that. So
throws them right in the elevator shaft.
That's why it's my favorite, because of the stakes of the fight and just the weight of it. And I mean, I could be here for 30 more minutes and tell you exactly why I love it. But that's it.
So my next question to you, Jacob, is so I
Mhm.
see myself as Ahsoka, a real life Ahsoka. I know I'm a male, but I have Ahsoka within me, you know? So
Yep.
so who is that character that sometimes you bring out of yourself? You know, sometimes you see yourself as that Jedi. You know, you see yourself as that Jedi that wants to do good or stuff like that. You have those moments. I know I have those moments. But who is the Jedi that you have those most moments with? Or you think to yourself, oh, like I think to myself, oh, what would Ahsoka do in this moment, you know, in my life, you know?
Huh. Never really had that question before, and that's something I've ever really thought about.
Always the
I
first
would
things on the Scevoli
say
Tano show.
I would say probably Anakin. Just
Ah.
because I would do anything for my friends. I'm very loyal to those in my circle, and I'll do anything I can for you. But I do have a little bit of a mean streak if you get on my if you get on if you get on my bad side. And I try to keep that side of me under wraps as much as I can. But just like Anakin, every once in a while I give into it. I'll put somebody in their place if I have to. But I would say mostly the good parts of Anakin. His 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 ability to do anything for his friends, to be heroic when needs be, to be brash and just unpredictable when if it calls for it. I would definitely say I'm more Anakin than anybody else, just because I see a lot of myself. I see a lot of myself in him. The the struggle for the struggle to stay in the light, but also every once in a while my dark side comes out. But I would say mostly his light side tendencies
And
are
we all
what
have those.
are
We all have those in general in life. You know, we have our dark side, we have our light side. You know, we get angry sometimes, we get frustrated. You know, like we want to help our friends. You know, I see a lot of that in what Anakin was trying to do, and I see that in you too. So my final question to you, Jacob, is
okay.
for people that are starting a YouTube Star Wars channel, what is the best advice you can give that young kid or young person or whoever, young lady, whoever wants to start a YouTube Star Wars channel? What advice can you give them starting out as a new YouTuber in
I
Star Wars?
would I would just say just go for it. Just do it. Um
Not like
just
Sidious, do it. Don't do that.
yeah, no, like just just take a chance. Just see what happens. Um I never thought I would be where I am. I mean, I'm still very early on in my journey here, but people that I've met, the friends that I've made, the
You're
community that the community that I've found in on Instagram, on YouTube is something I never thought I would find. And that's probably the thing that I think most people don't are afraid to do, is to just kind of take the first step. And I can promise you, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna learn. It's just like anything else you do. But if you really believe in the content you're putting out, like I am, like you are, um, you're gonna be successful. Just do the Star Wars content that you want, that you think people would like to see, and put it out there.
welcome.
And find your community. Find your community within the Star Wars fandom, and stick with them. Ask if you're friends with a more successful YouTuber, ask them questions starting out. That's what I did, and I've learned along the way what works, what doesn't work, and just if you're really interested in just doing this as a hobby, just because you have a love for Star Wars, do it. Is really all I can say. Is just take the chance.
Just do it, guys. Like Sidious goes, do it. Just do it. That's how Anakin did it. Sliced off Count Dooku's head, and that's all she wrote. I want to thank Jacob so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time, your energy, your talks, Star Wars talks with me on my show. But before we go, where can everybody find you on the social medias?
Okay, so my social media is at Tales from Tosche Station, exactly like it's spelled on the screen, on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify.
I will put all the links in the bio, so go check him out. He has a What If. Is the What If out yet or not yet?
Yeah, that was the first. It was the first thing I put out on my channel. I've got a few different things on there. I've got my What If series I made, a Star Wars Origins episode where I cover what made me into a fan. A few character breakdowns and a few other collab videos and / podcasts. So, if you guys, everything's there. So,
cool.
If you guys like it, just let me know, and I'll see you guys in there.
Yes, I will put all the links in the bio, guys, in this episode, so you can go check him out, follow him, give him some love, some affection, But thank you, Jacob, so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. You're welcome back on the Scevoli Tano Tonight Show anytime.
All right, man.
I'm not Jimmy Fallon, just so you know. I'm not Jimmy Fallon. I can't give you that. I know, right?
All right, man. Well, I just wanted to say again, thank you for having me on, man. Thank you.
Oh, anytime. But thank you guys for joining us tonight on the Scevoli Tonight Show. Guys, be kind to one another. Make sure you guys subscribe down below to the YouTube channel, the Scevoli Tano Show. Be kind to one another, and may the Force be with you, my friends. Always. Bye.
See y'all.
In my life, when you find people who need your help, you help them, no matter what.